Admission is ongoing at Living TV Film Academy, Aba, Abia State, for candidates wishing to study filmmaking and mass communication for skill certificate training and degree programs, including mandatory NYSC post-degree service. Courses offered are Department of Journalism and Media Studies, Broadcast Journalism, TV Presentation, Filter Journalism, Department of Film and Multimedia Studies, Cinematography, Acting, Video Editing, Film Production, Website Designing, Modeling and Makeup, Bead Making, Screen Writing, Theatre Arts, Department of Broadcasting, Script Writing, Journalism, Reporting, Software Programming, Mobile and Web App Development, Audio Production, Graphic Designing, Digital Animation, Special Effects, Social Media Management. Entry qualifications. Candidates must possess 5 credits in WASICAM GCE, NAPTEB or equivalent. We have the following technical infrastructure for students' skills acquisition: an art theatre well equipped for modern digital television and radio studios open for hire to the public, an audio suite for music production, soundtracks, sound effects, jingles and voice-over, etc. A 50 feet by 40 feet chroma studio, largest in Africa for special effects, world-class rendering facilities for post-production rendering, animation and cartoon technology, assorted professional cameras, drones, etc. A film village with epic and village houses for theatre arts and epic films making. Our studies are skill-oriented with well-qualified academic and technical teachers. We also admit students on industrial training and internship from other institutions. Professional license will be issued to graduates to practice as professionals by Bollywood, a registered professional organization for filmmakers.
Welcome, our wonderful viewers, to another edition of our newspaper review. We're going to look at the trending issues in our national dailies, and today we are having 3 major national dailies that we'll be looking at. And today we have your wonderful favorites who are my discussants for today. From my far left, I have St. Moses Ogbonna. St. Moses Ogbonna, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians.
And also from my immediate left, I have Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwaogu. Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwaogu is a lawyer and also a security consultant. Barrister, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, viewers. Good day to everybody.
Yeah. Today we are going to start with the Vanguard newspaper. In the Vanguard newspaper, we'll be looking at certain trending issues. Today we are looking at what happened, or the issue that has been trending on the newspaper concerning Ekweremadu. As of yesterday, a lot of supporters and lovers of Ekweremadu were very, very agitative about what the court's decision will be like. Today, we have it on the newspaper headline, and Ekweremadu kidney donor, not a minor, court rules in UK. I want to start with you, Barrister Nwaogu. Is that enough to exonerate him, and is that also enough to take him out of the detention where he is now? That the boy is no more a minor?
Well, if you're saying the boy is no more a minor,
as I earlier
that would be conveying a wrong impression. What is important is that at the material time of the alleged commission of the offense, what his age was. Secondly, it would also depend on the charges preferred against Senator Ekweremadu and his wife, as well as the provisions of the law said to have been breached by the duo of Senator Ekweremadu and his wife. So these are the 3 things. If the gravamen of the charge or allegation is that because the subject is a minor, and so that any contract purportedly entered into with him would be vitiated on account of his lack of majority by age, then if the court rules that he is a major, he has attained majority, obviously that charge will collapse, because the bedrock of the charge is that the contract or whatever arrangement they entered into was on the basis that he was a minor. Secondly, you will also need to look at the laws in place in the United Kingdom, whether such contract is allowed in the first place, whether such transaction is contrary to public policy, because it would depend on the particular jurisdiction in question. If in Nigeria it is not an offense, but in UK it is an offense, if you go to UK and commit it, then you committed an offense. You will not say because I'm a Nigerian and we came from Nigeria. No. They will look at the place where you are at that particular point in time. So these are the things that you need to factor out before you begin to determine the guilt or otherwise of Ekweremadu and his wife. The relevant law, the age of the subject, and then the nature of the said transaction or contract or agreement entered into.
All right, thank you. Barrister, sorry, said Moses Ogbonna, the living saint. I think a kidney transplant or harvesting is a medical issue. And why is he arrested? And if from what you're saying here, the boy is not a minor. He's above 18 years. He's about 18 years and above. And then why is he still in custody?
Yeah, the problem I see there is not whether the boy is a minor or not. The problem is who has jurisdiction? Where was the offense committed, if there is an offense at all? Where was the contract entered into? Is it in UK or in Nigeria? If it is in Nigeria, is it UK that has jurisdiction to begin to determine whether the laws of UK has been breached or that of Nigeria? You see, what I think is that Ekweremadu entered into whatever contract with the boy, if there was a contract in Nigeria, only went to look to execute it, which has not to be executed. Whatever contract he entered with the boy has not been executed in the UK. The only thing is that the guy ran away from Ekweremadu to report that there is a contract entered in Nigeria that is about to be executed in UK. I am thinking that whether the boy is overaged or underaged will be able to be determined. First of all, who has jurisdiction? Because Ekweremadu did not enter into contract with the boy as per age. It is organ harvesting. And when the contract for organ harvesting was entered into, was in Nigeria. Is there any law concerning this organ harvesting in Nigeria? If there is not, in UK, has there been organ harvesting between Ekweremadu and the boy? That is where my confusion is. That is where I think I am still looking into whether UK has jurisdiction in the first place to determine whether Ekweremadu has contravened their laws for organ harvesting or not.
All right.
Sorry. I think something is a little bit amiss here. Two things are actually worrying me. One is organ harvesting.
As it is worrying me.
Yes. The other one is organ donation.
Good.
They are two different things. Because when you're talking about harvesting, yes, medically, I mean, it simply refers to extracting a particular organ from a living person. Okay? And that, most of the time, would connote contrary to the will of the subject, independent of the will of the subject. But when you're talking about donation, then that is where age of the subject would come into play. Because if he's an adult and he has the legal capability and capacity to donate any of his organs, medically it's recognized. So why he was alleged that he's a minor is that a minor lacks the capacity to enter into such contract. If it is determined that he is not a minor at the time the contract was entered into, then that means that that particular contract will not be vitiated, will not be rendered void or useless on account of his age. The next thing now is to determine whether there was willingness, whether he entered into the contract voluntarily. If he didn't enter into the contract voluntarily, whether he's a major or a minor becomes another issue entirely. It's neither here nor there. What has defeated the contract is the lack of voluntariness on his part.
So there was something Mo said here I really want us to look at. Now, the act, has it been committed? And if the transplant has not been done and the organ not harvested, why the arrest?
And again, the young man, whether he is minor or he is an adult, from the documents that were processed before he was taken there, shows that he is aware of what he was going there to do.
Okay.
Now, if at the time he ran away in UK, he had the opportunity here to have run away before even proceeding
to UK.
That means he had another thought.
Mischief.
A very serious mischief. And that mischief was to get to UK and not to donate or harvest his organ. And now he was thinking, or I think he was thinking, that when he goes into UK and escapes, he will have been protected by UK laws. The problem is, what is he being protected of? Is it protected of the mischief he has cultivated within himself to lose the primados, to enter into a foreign land? We are also saying, I am also saying, that if we look at the boy's age, if he were a minor, a primado ought to have done a lot of other things. A minor who is incapable of entering into such a contract will have, one, a parental consent. Does he have parents? Were his parents consulted?
Our guardians.
Or guardians? If not, was he a boyfriend or girlfriend? A boyfriend or a relation of the person whom he is going to donate the kidney to? If not, what? Because this donation does not have pecuniary consideration.
Officially, you mean?
Officially.
Officially. Yes, because behind certain juicy packages must have been.
And the guy has not said, I was lured into it, I was given so package. That has been silent up to now. What I'm saying is that if these agreements were made in Nigeria and it is proved now that he's an adult, which means he knew and he was not a relation to the primados.
He was properly consented.
Consulted, contracted, and he consented. If all these are there, is it jurisdiction? Where was the offense committed? Is it at the point of contact, at the point of consent, at the point of consultation, or is it in UK at the point when he ran away to say, I was going to be harvested of my organ? Once we are able to get this jurisdiction problem, we will know whether the UK people are not doing what they will have been known to do, that any prominent person coming outside UK will be humiliated.
All right, I think the act, they say, is a modern slavery act. And I don't think, Barrister Mog, that maybe because we learned that Ekweremadu has 4 other kids, 4 other children. And why would one of the children, donate this kidney we are talking about? Why going outside to look for a person to do that?
Medically, before you enter into organ donation, you have to do what you call matching. The fact that you come from same parents does not automatically mean that the organs would match. You might find people from the same parents, maybe being in different blood groups and so on. Same also with the tissue. So there has to be some matching. If not, it wouldn't work. So I would also want to believe that before the young man was finally selected, that some medical procedures aimed at ascertaining his suitability for organ donation must have been complied with. The matching must have been made. Taking it to another area, of course, Nigerians are very good at conspiracy theories. You will also might argue that the parents don't want anything that would endanger their existing children. Because if you have 2 kidneys and you donate one, it means you're not surviving on one. So they wouldn't want 2 children, each of them having 1 kidney, 1 kidney. But that is the other side of the argument. But first, I approached it from a scientific point of view, medically, that there has to be some matching.
Okay. Sir Moses Obonna, please, do you think, because also from the grapevine,
moral concentration.
We're
not looking at moral concentration. We're looking at the legal concentration. Did they want to commit an offense? Not the reason why he, or what he ought to do, or have not done. Even if all the children matched the kidney of the one that is ought to be transplanted, that is not an offense. And he avoided his children to go there. It's a moral concentration.
Is that not undue advantage?
It's a moral concentration. What we're looking at, why is he being held? The legal consideration. Is UK right entitled to hold a man who has not committed, as far as I'm concerned, he has not committed any offense in UK? Because the transplant has not been done. I don't even think the guy has gone to hospital and anybody has applied any surgical instrument upon him. He consented here. He was contracted here. If there is any background, like with apologies to my learned senior, the juicy consideration that was given to him, and that's an adult.
Very juicy.
Yes. Very juicy. And he consented. That means he knew.
There was no doubt that he knew
what he was entering into. And all these things were entered in Nigeria. The packages were given here. As far as I understand, the contract was initiated, consulted, and executed in Nigeria. If UK does not want him to do it in their place, what they should do is to deport all of them.
And don't you think that they are looking at the personality of Ekweremadu and the person in question, both their background, as a deputy
You remember that Ekweremadu has been a target. I think it was also in UK that he was insulted and he is restored. And the UK government did not do anything.
Germany.
Oh, Germany, okay.
Germany, yes.
Now, and you see, and the Ekweremadu is an Igbo man. A former Senate Deputy Senate President, a prominent person in Nigeria. What I am saying, and as a lawyer, is that as far as UK is concerned, Ekweremadu has not committed any offense, even though he has shown an intention to do what an intention to commit. I don't think it amounts to who led himself, collected the QC package on a thing he wants to defraud everybody, because that is fraud.
Okay, Barrister Wogo, looking at it critically, the man in question, considering his position and then considering the position of the young man, I think that is why that Modern Slavery Act is attached. And that is the way they are looking at it. In UK, yes. I am saying
let him come up with the question.
Yes, in UK. And don't you think that it is slavery because they felt that the former Deputy Senate President used undue advantage on this guy, maybe because of his wealth, and this other boy has nothing.
I don't, in all honesty, I don't want to believe that your question is trying to assume that having wealth is bad, or that using it.
No, we are considering the reasons for his being held.
You are speculating.
Yeah.
That is the problem. You are being speculative, because when you are dealing with a alleged criminal offense, then you go outside the realms of speculation. You have to be exact. You have to be specific. Just like St. Moses said that, yes, the act has not yet taken place. The best they could maybe charge him for at this stage would be attempt. But even at that, nothing, and I'm not sure that any positive steps, he also made that point, had been taken by any of the parties to consummate that act of harvesting. Remember what I said when I started. The mindset of everybody was that this big man, you are dealing with a poor orphan.
That's it.
Tender in age, a minor who legally is unable to think for himself according to the law, and so you're using your weight and everything. But the moment it was established that he was not a minor, that he is not a minor, then that alters completely the landscape of all the charges being brought against Ekweremadu. So, because a man had been former Senate President and he has money, and his daughter is having kidney failure, and he has the wherewithal to procure somebody who can donate, who is willing to donate, at least at the point of entering into the contract. So you say he shouldn't use it because of what people are going to say. I don't understand.
Well, the issue of willingness is determined by the court. Just like they've determined the age of the man. Yeah, so that issue of willingness will be determined by the court.
Do not forget also what I said. The reports we are getting here in Nigeria have not indicated with exactitude the offenses, alleged offenses, or the charge itself, because the wording of the charge would have helped us at the end of the day. The wordings of the charge would have been very instructive. So the only thing we had setting out initially was that, look, he was dealing with a minor. And everybody knows that he just entered into contract with minors. Except for beneficial contracts. A contract that would be 100% in favor of the minor in his interest. And where anything shifts from that, that's when the court will intervene. So once he is shown to be a major, then obviously you allow the man to think for himself. And the report, see what we also heard, he's seeking political asylum. I mean the young man. He's not even a member of any political party. He hasn't shown that any government is after him. The government at the center is different from the government in which Ekweremadu is participating. Two different, his own is even in the minority. I mean Ekweremadu, the PDP is in minority. The government at the center is APC. So you will see the bedrock and foundation of whatever the young man is alleging crumbling. Just like St. Moses said, actually the person that ought to be grilled will be the young man, because you entered into contract with somebody knowingly.
Okay,
you are an adult.
Please, that will take the whole day. Please, Semo, and what do you think is Ekweremadu's fate, since the court has discovered that this young man is not a minor.
You are being speculative also.
You say,
No,
if
it's not.
you
He said it's not a
you
minor.
want me to go into judgment.
The matter that is pending in the court.
Speculative.
Yes.
But
Okay.
the only thing I want to add there is that Ekweremadu, much as I know that the issue of jurisdiction has not been touched, most of these people in government should suffer what is suffering. Because if we had all these
Functional health care here.
there was no need for him to go.
Yeah.
You see, the president will be even suffering from headache. Just like that. So all of us who are here are guinea pigs. We should go to clinics that are not functional, that are not equipped, and die of a very little ailment. That is the only way the only area I will say, yes, Ekweremadu, suffer it. You were deputy Senate president, you ought to make laws to protect the Nigerian population. But if anybody is telling me that Ekweremadu has suffered a breach of British laws from a contract he entered into Nigeria, I think we have to.
Well, much of this, we said this yesterday when we also talked about this issue, but because this is a new one, because as I said yesterday, we were thinking and believing that the court will be on the contrary concerning the young man's age, but today it's out. Well, being that as it is, let us go over to this another heading here says the federal government. Another heading here talks about the Kuje attack, and the Senate is saying that the security system has failed, and also they lamented bitterly about the closed circuit television that is not available in Kuje prison. Are they noticing that for the first time now? Security consultant.
Yes, well, let me start by saying that the intel for what happened at Kuje prison had been out there a long time ago. To many analysts and watchers, especially in the security industry, it did not really come as a surprise. It wasn't a case of if, it was a case of where and when. That is actually the truth of the matter. And you know that when things like this happen, that is when we begin to now see or learn of things that ought to have been taken care of that we're not taking care of. Some would say that accidents don't just happen. It's usually, culmination of different failures over time that finally results in something. Out there on the public domain, we also have it that the soldiers who were guarding Kuje prison were withdrawn 24 hours before that particular incident. When you now join it together with the fact of the CCTVs either not being in place or not working as at the time of the attack, you join it also with the attacks that have taken place on similar correctional facilities all over the nation. Then you will agree that this one it even took time coming. It took time coming. For people who also saw the video of the layout of the prison, it was also like an accident waiting to happen. Something definitely was wrong because it does not seem to conform with security standards, modern security standards of such high, it's supposed to be a maximum prison. However, in this situation, it's at best I may term it a medium security, and keeping the likes of the Boko Haram detainees in such medium security facility, it's an accident waiting to happen. So everything, the people that said, there's a comment you credited, can you take it again?
Yes, that they are totally, yes, that they closed circuit television.
No, that our security system did what, sir?
No, that the security architecture of this country has failed.
I think the person who, I wouldn't know really who said it.
The Senate.
The Senate.
Yesterday.
All of them.
Yes.
Because if the Senate president himself had been the one that said it, I would have been very caustic with him as a person. But it is the Senate collectively. And I know that this particular observation is not just being said now. In fairness to the Senate as a group, as an organ of government, repeatedly, several senators from different parts of the country, from the political divide, across the political divide, have consistently made these observations. And our Wagachi driver, as usual, will always be said by the presidency not to be aware. You know, we have two in Nigeria. We have the president, and then we have the presidency. So most times, you don't know who is actually addressing a situation. Is it the president or the presidency? You understand? So, repeatedly, see what happened with the former service chiefs. Despite the complete breakdown of law and order in Nigeria, against all advice, against all campaign, against all agitation and reason, Ogachi driver continued keeping them. If you continue cooking soup with egusi, it is egusi soup that you are cooking. If you do not add okra to it, you are not cooking okra soup. We continue doing something in a particular manner, using the same style, it continues failing consistently and repeatedly. It continues failing, we continue getting the same result of failure. And we continue in the same pattern, expecting to get a different result. It is neither here nor there. It can never work that way.
All right.
We've said it repeatedly that the security architecture of this nation needs to be overhauled. Is this the first time we're having a CCTV failure? When we attacked the place where the best defense officers in this nation are being trained in NDA. The same story. The CCTV wasn't in place, wasn't working. Was that not the time to ensure that these things are all installed and put up together? Is this the first time a correctional facility is being attacked? Tomorrow you hear that another one in another part of the country was also attacked and dangerous inmates freed. So that's why I said it was not a question of if, rather it was a question of when and where.
All right, Sir Moses Obuna, please, because of this lamentation of the Senate, who do we blame on this insecurity, incessant insecurity in Nigeria?
All of them. Both the executive, the legislature and the judiciary. You see, when things like this happen, and I watch our grammarians begin to concoct deep into their grammar knowledge and begin to dish out grammar to describe or qualify the issue of the moment. The thing baffles me. I never believed that a country as large as Nigeria will begin to toy with security, issues of security. We are toying with it. We are losing what everybody should sit up and they condemn and begin to use grammar to describe it. Somebody says that advanced party of the president of the
Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Commander-in-Chief
Commander-in-Chief
of the Armed Forces.
Ruling Council.
No. The ruling council was under military.
Commander-in-Chief is advanced party that will welcome him in his village for the Salah. They were attacked. And the only thing that came from the president is that I condemn the act.
Always condemning. That's the only thing.
Immediately after that condemnation that has always been condemned, gave these people the impetus to attack the jail prison, releasing several members of Boko Haram. And the only thing that came out of the president's mouth is condemning in strongest terms the attack. If somebody is saying that the military in the Kuje prison will withdraw, who did the withdrawal? It is somebody that issues the order for the military that has been there to be withdrawn soon after there was an attack. Who did that order?
The withdrawal.
The withdrawal. What consideration did he provide that make him issue the withdrawal order? From there we begin to move from the north. Because he should be called upon. We did not hear the Senate calling him. Oga Commander, why did you issue the order? We are also hearing that there was a signal that the Kuje prison was going to be attacked.
Yeah, the intelligence one.
Was the man who withdrew the military,
The soldiers.
the soldiers, aware of the military intelligence report that Kuje prison was going to be attacked? If he was, can any reasonable person be condemned to say that the man who withdrew the military men
Knew everything about
knew
that.
everything about them? Can anybody be condemned if he is brought to question? We also know that there are prominent people in that prison. Politicians, policemen who are detained in the Kuje prison. What is their whereabouts? Were they among the people that were released by the Boko Haram people? If they were among the people that were released, are they also on the run? Did they remain to say, I am a citizen of this country, I will run? At the high level they occupy in this country, will anybody reasonable person be condemned if he asserts or begin to profile that they also are aware of the attack on Kuje prison? Let us not deceive ourselves. If anybody is saying that the security apparatus of this country has collapsed, I will disagree. But I will say they are infiltrated. When they are infiltrated, it means that certain persons in the military apparatus are out to sabotage the security system of this country.
All right.
Sorry, sir. Let's not just blame the military. When you are referring to the security architecture, it has to do with everybody concerned with security. Not just the military, the police, the DSS, civil defense, immigration, customs, all of them put together. A situation where only one ethnic tribe in Nigeria is majorly handling security, and we keep on having this problem. People are complaining. Mix it up. Let people be stakeholders. Every person concerned ought to be represented in this issue. And then somebody had gone out to say that people related to that particular ethnic group outside the country, people who are not Nigerians, should come to Nigeria and make a home in Nigeria. And it is being said that they are the ones behind all these attacks. Their brothers are controlling the security apparatus, and nothing is happening. No person ever brings them to book. That's why I said something about you keep on preparing soup in a particular manner. You think you would ever get a different type of soup? You can never be cooking egusi and expect to get vegetable soup when you are using egusi. It's not possible.
All right, shortly before we go on break, immediately after the attack, the Islamic State for West African Province, the ISWAP, claimed that they were responsible for that attack. And this ISWAP, I know they are not spirits. What are the security men doing about these people? And also, there was a video that trended yesterday. They are jubilating over the attack. After the attack, they were jubilating.
You didn't see the one of the attack? They filmed the attack.
Yeah, they filmed the attack. Though it was a little dark, both the bombing and so on. They all filmed it. And our security men are there. So, just like Semo said, I think something is wrong. So, what is your take on this? Since these people are known, they are not hidden. And they've also come out to say, we did this. And they've also posted the video on the social media. So what are the security men doing? Both our soldiers, DSS, and so on.
That is exactly the point I had earlier on made, if you followed me, sir. A particular ethnic group in Nigeria is majorly in charge today, heading our security apparatus. That is one. Two, their kith or kin went out and extended invitations to all of them, not Nigerians, because their will I say ethnicity cuts across international boundaries. And he said that all of them everywhere in the world should surge into Nigeria and make a home in Nigeria. They came here, they've been living inside the bushes. Everybody is complaining. You heard what the prelate who was kidnapped said. And what they did was to start extending invitations to him, to that the military, they were going to interview him. And I said, that's not possible. He's not a soldier. You cannot interview him. If you want to interview him, one, you are even a suspect. So you cannot investigate yourself. It is. Now, if you feel bad about what he said, report to the police. The police will now bring in the prelate, grill him, and also you also surrender your own men, the people who were on duty that day, and they will equally be grilled. So, like you rightly said, the people doing this, we have an idea, security-wise, who they are. That is members of the Islamic State in the province of West Africa. Okay? Yes, they have claimed responsibility for it. It should go beyond condemnation by our Oga Chief Driver. I don't expect that certain people will still be sitting down in their offices, like Sir Moses said, blowing big grammar and explaining how it happened and how it didn't happen. That is not. Some people elsewhere would even have resigned. We are still cooking egusi soup, using egusi, and we are busy expecting vegetable or kazi or bono. It's not possible. It can't work that way. We will continue getting the same result until we change the way. There has to be a paradigm shift. The way we approach issues, we must alter and change, view it from a different perspective, and then take a new drastic action aimed at flushing out these criminals.
All right, thank you. I think we are going to take one more on this paper, then we go on break. And that is about the ASU, the strike on the universities. Our youths are lamenting.
Before we go to ASU, I want to advise that the military, let the Senate or National Assembly pass a law that every army, police, DSS should go back to their states and man their states. That's my advice.
Well, that's an advice. I'm sure you're listening.
Yeah, because maybe I quite sympathize with Sir Moses, and to some extent share partly his view, because it would now make those in the security industry to realize that there is something personally at stake. When you're sent to protect your mother, your father, your sisters and brothers, maybe your approach might be different. So that people should go back, and then we would also use it to know how many security people actually come from a particular place and know their distribution. Whether Abia would have 1 million security men from Abia, and then in Yobe we have only 2. It would help us to know some of these indices.
Well, I think that would have been a wonderful, if that advice would have been taken, that would have been wonderful, because even in Abia State here, women are lamenting seriously. Even we have it in one of the headlines of these papers, that women, they can't go to their farms freely in most of, in some local governments in Abia State because of these
people live in the bush.
Stay in the bush, rape our women.
They don't just even stop at raping alone. Butchering human beings.
All right. So please, before we drop this newspaper, let us look at this ASU. This headline says federal government breaks ASU rank, and what they mean by that is that some medical lecturers, they've accepted to pay some medical lecturers who did not join the ASU strike, and they want to pay them for June to this throughout this 2022. And what happens to others? Does it mean that only these 3 universities in the north will be operated while others will remain on strike?
Well, we are our government or administration in Nigeria is a product of British system. They equally introduce what they call divide and rule. That is exactly what is playing out in this. Our politicians of today equally adopt it. Maybe like as happened during the NSAS protests, something was going peacefully very well, and then they suddenly procured some thugs to infiltrate and then start fighting those that were doing legitimate peaceful demonstration. And then the government came in and said, okay, it has broken down, the thing is no longer peaceful, and let's stop it and all whatnot, disband. Something like that is actually playing out. Because election is coming, they know that one of the candidates was asked or told that he has no structure. And you would remember what he said. The structure would include those on strike, those at home, and so on. Yeah, maybe that is what they are now trying, like you said, to break their ranks. Find some, placate them, divide and rule.
No, there's a new one now.
Tell me, sir.
Divide and conquer. I think that is where we are now.
Okay, Sembo, please, what would you say about this group of medical lecturers who could not join the ASU strike? Is that not sabotage to the entire body of
ASU? Because they do not see reason in the ASU strike. I do not see reason as well. They are just wasting the time of our youth. All the while they have been going on strike and they're coming back. What was the condition? The agreement. How many times, how many years have we been witnessing this ASU strike?
Is it an annual ritual?
And many of the ASU union members who are now will soon become ministers. And when they become ministers, what do? They go in and they do the same thing. He was protesting when he was a union leader.
And so will become collation officers, returning officers during the election. The ASU on strike actually installed the governments at all levels in Nigeria today.
So
right from 2000 and...
if I should ask anybody to be condemned, it is not the presidency or president that will.
Which ones? Which ones?
Which of presidency or the president?
Like I said, we have to in Nigeria, depending on the subject matter.
I will condemn the ASU people. Maybe because the private juicy area of the negotiation has not been met. That's why they are still keeping our youths at home. I am having the youths have now opened up. They are registering their PVC in March, and very soon
they will speak.
They will speak with their votes.
And it's going to
be
done.
I pray to Almighty God that whoever shall win, because of the voice of this youth, will turn around and look at what is happening at our universities to know who is wrong and who is right, whether the presidency, president, or the ASU.
Are you saying that the government has no area to be blamed on this ASU strike?
I said they don't have an area to be blamed. They have their own areas to be blamed. If the people who want us to blame them have come out to say why we should blame them, if you are negotiating with the government and you call off the strike, there must have been point of agreement before you call off.
Let me assist. Most times, the reason why they get back to the trenches is that the conditions agreed upon were not met.
That's it.
When they come for negotiation, they agree on timelines and say by so and so you will do this, by so and so you do this. So when the government now reneged on its own side of the agreement, they get back to the trenches. That's usually what has been happening. That's why ASU doesn't call off strike, it suspends.
What I think ASU should do is to preach what the religious bodies are preaching. Everybody have their PVC, so that we will vote in a government that we have sympathy with us, have sympathy with
the students,
not when you are called to be the returning officer.
You return the money back.
You return the money back, and they come back and ask me
to start complaining.
I will not blame
something you cost.
The presidency
and the president.
I will blame us.
All right, our wonderful viewers, it has been a wonderful time listening to the trending issues in our national dailies. And we are going to go on a very short break. Remember, it's still your darling station, The Living TV, where we bring the world first to you. And discussing with two legal luminaries. We'll be back shortly. Just stay tuned and don't go away.
Admission is ongoing at Living TV Film Academy, Aba, Abia State, for candidates wishing to study filmmaking and mass communication for skill certificate training and degree programs, including mandatory NYSC post-degree service. Courses offered are Department of Journalism and Media Studies, Broadcast Journalism, TV Presentation, Photojournalism, Department of Film and Multimedia Studies, Cinematography, Acting, Video Editing, Film Production, Website Designing, Modeling and Makeup, Bead Making, Screenwriting, Theatre Arts, Department of Broadcasting, Script Writing, Journalism, Reporting, Software Programming, Mobile and Web App Development, Audio Production, Graphic Designing, Digital Animation, Special Effects, Social Media Management. Entry qualifications. Candidates must possess 5 credits in WASICAM GCE, NAPTEB or equivalents. We have the following technical infrastructure for students' skills acquisition: an art theatre well equipped for modern digital television and radio studios open for hire to the public, an audio suite for music production, soundtracks, sound effects, jingles and voice-over, etc. A 50 feet by 40 feet chroma studio, largest in Africa for special effects, world-class rendering facilities for post-production rendering, animation and cartoon technology, assorted professional cameras, drones, etc. A film village with epic and village houses for theatre arts and epic films making. Our studies are skill-oriented with well-qualified academic and technical teachers. We also admit students on industrial training and internship from other institutions. Professional license will be issued to graduates to practice as professionals by Bollywood, a registered professional organization for filmmakers. Wow! What are you waiting for? Rush now and obtain our admission form with 2,000 Naira only at our main campus, number 1 Judges Road, 5th floor, former UBA House by NEPA, Waterside Descent, Aba, Abia State, Nigeria, or visit our website, livingradio.com.ng, the Academy, www.
Our wonderful viewers, thank God you are still there watching Living TV. And we are back again on the national dailies for today. Still my discussants remain Barrister St. Moses Obunna and Barrister Chukwemeka Nwog, also a security consultant. And I remain your anchor, Chinedum Adiele. Today, right now, let us look at the Daily Sun. And Daily Sun is still talking about the Senate fuming over Kuje prison terrorist attack. And then they are calling for sanctions on the security agencies.
I agree.
Just like you suggested. And now that they are calling for sanctions, do we now assume this is the most painful of all the security attacks in Nigeria? Why are they calling for sanctions only on this? What about the previous ones?
I think the Senate has been fairly consistent. This would not be the first time they have come out to be very critical of the security architecture. Remember that before the last set of service chiefs were replaced, that at a point the Senate, they were going to go head on against the presidency, or was it the president? Yes, there was even a time they said they were not going to honor anything he was going to send to them, because that their resolutions, especially on the issue of security, were not addressed. So that what was the point bringing more? That he will now pick and choose the one that favors him or the one he likes and leave the others, because after all, they are there for the peace and good governance of the entire nation. This is not the first time they are being critical. The last set, they were very critical. They came out several times to say, Mr. President, rejig your security architecture, change these people, they have overstayed. Now, these ones, I don't know about their tenure, the present service chiefs, whether they have or security chiefs. Let's not just keep on saying service chiefs. That refers mostly to the military and maybe police. But these were all security apparatus across the board. So, this time around, not just on grounds of having overstayed, but I would say on grounds of crass ineptitude and incompetence. No nation goes down this way without firing such people. No, not at all. Not at all. And then again, it is wrong to believe that only people from a particular ethnic group or religious belief can head our security architecture, because you have extended invitation to their brothers all over the world to come to Nigeria and make a home in Nigeria. And so they are there primarily to ensure that policy, that mandate is protected. That is the major problem. And then from it, everything keeps on happening. You change the nomenclature from their terrorists to their headsmen to their bandits to their unknown gunmen, and then from there to gunmen known, and cattle rustlers, from all kinds of things. It's making the rest of Nigerians look stupid.
We shall arrive at known gunmen.
Yes, there was a time St. Moses, when he tweeted something, I think it was on the Twitter or so, yes, about known gunmen, because he was able to identify them, but that's an aside. This one, it's the signature, irrespective of the part of the country in which it happens, is basically the same. It's basically the same. I am one of those that will keep on insisting, from the background I have recently acquired, that superior firepower will not win this battle against terrorism, insurgency, and the likes. No, it is not superior firepower, rather superior intelligence. I am also of the firm belief that we keep on getting more than sufficient intelligence. However, those in charge of policy seem not to be willing to use the intelligence gathered to do anything, to take the necessary steps. Usually, Oga Chief Driver will condemn. And this time around, even when his own, because an attack on his advanced party is an attack on his convoy. An attack on his convoy is an attack on him. And so Nigerians turn around, trust us, we could be quite humorous and witty with our ways to say that we condemn equally the attack on his convoy, and then, just as he would also say, urge him and every other, all his aides, not to be afraid, but to go about their lawful duties and so on. The same statement that is always repeated on his behalf by the presidency whenever things like this happen.
All right, as you said, Mo, do you think that the security architecture is depicting the federal character that we preach? If no, what are we supposed to do? What are the functions of the lower and upper chambers of our lawmakers?
You see, the problem with the security thing is that it is the executive. You see, what the legislature ought to do is for one to propose an advice on the executive on how to. But I know very well that there is what we call federal character in everything we do. In appointments, all our appointments ought to reflect the federal character. In promotions, including the military, the security apparatus, the positions ought to reflect the federal character, the zoning system, so that where the person coming from a particular zone is the chairman, another zone ought to be the deputy or secretary. But the situation, every position is locked into a particular zone, and by their actions and inaction, it appears that other zones are not protected. I think the legislature ought to call for a reasonable reformation, transformation, and reshuffling. A situation nobody does that. Like I said, it appears there is a sabotage.
All right, finally, today I want us to look at this a little religious, what I wouldn't say notorious, let me use the word popular, pastor in Anambra State, learned that the state government demolished the church, and in trying to prevent them, and they had to hit him. They had to deal with him, mercilessly. And the person of Udumoje, has the government right over the churches and the buildings of churches?
Yes, the churches are not aware from the laws of the land. There is what we call land tenure system.
We have the Land Use Act.
Land Use Act. Before you situate or site your church, you have to look at it. Has to be approved by the
the town planning authority.
Town planning authority. If the town planning authority approves siting of a particular church, a particular house, and in the end, or the church believes that the approval given to them is within the ambits of the law of the state. If in the end there is a flaw that will necessitate the government to demolish the church, I think the owner of the church does not need to worry. He will go back to the person that gives him
the land,
the permission to erect his church. But wherefore it is found out that the land was just acquired by the church with the influence of the GO on his member who gave him the land without a cause to the town planning authority. And some of these pastors, sometimes the town planning authority will come and mark rent on their church.
Or stop
building. And you will say because you are a GO, you are a man of God, somebody whose authority is from Almighty Jehovah, and you have the power and the authority to do whatever, and the humanity will not react. Then the government will come with their magic wand, with their authority, and tell you that the Jehovah God owns heaven, and the authority to build will be given by the government on earth, and they will demolish it. And they ask you to bring Jehovah God.
Please, Council, in a situation where the owner of the church presented a paper given to him by the town planning authority, and yet the building is demolished, can't he sue the government?
Let me explain. Having been in charge of the ministry that handled town planning at a point in time, seeking approval is one step. Securing approval for a particular diagram or design is another. Then building in accordance with the design approved is an entirely different thing. What usually happens is that when people want to build, maybe they have a place of land, let me just give this analysis, like 50 by 100, and they secure a design to build up to 60% area or coverage of that 50 by 100. When they now come on the land actual, they will now occupy the build actual about 90%, leaving only 10%. That is not in accordance with.
Even sometimes they expand.
That is it.
What the neighbor wants to sell, they acquire also. Without
no person will give you. I saw the fence of that church, the premises, clearly, without equivocation. It encroached upon the natural drainage channel. There is no authority anywhere on earth that would deliberately give you approval to go and build there. What happens is that if he has shown an approval, he has encroached. That is one thing. The area I didn't like was the manhandling of the man. I am not in support of it, not because he is Indaboski Pahushi, not because he's dangerous, or that because he is radical. No. He said so himself, that he is radical, that he is dangerous, and so on. You know, not because of those ones, but because he is a citizen of Nigeria. If they do that to anybody,
you ask whether there was a reaction of his to the people demonstrating.
He tried to stop them.
That was the allegation.
Yes,
that was the allegation. All the videos shown, none showed where he was preventing them. Assuming he had even made that point, and then the team combined, there were 10 of them, some armed, now blocking him. One of them coming from the back to slap him.
No, that
was, I mean, it was uncalled for. At that point in time, he was assuming he had been belligerent earlier. But at the point that they had fairly contained him, it was almost unnecessary and unreasonable by any standard to continue manhandling him. Even one of the senior officers was cautioning the others and said, it is okay. And they were acting more like people who each had something, a vendetta in mind, and that they each wanted a piece of him, hit him, and let it be said that I was the one that slapped him from the front, from the back. That was unnecessary. No matter who was at the receiving end of it, the lowest child in Nigeria, the lowest woman, should not be subjected to such treatment. If he was being belligerent, at a point they had contained him. What to do was to secure him, place him under arrest, handcuff him, put him in a vehicle, and not to continue beating him, hitting him up and down. That one was, yes, it is not right. No matter who is involved in that one, I condemn that one. If he built on the drainage channel, yes he did, and the government was clearly within its right to bring it down.
All right, wonderful viewers, we thank you so much for watching and also listening to us. And this will continue doing with you at Living TV, ensuring that you are entertained, educated, and informed with our programs. As you keep watching, I also want to remind you of our discussants. St. Moses Obona.
Thank you for the question.
And also Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogo, and also a security consultant.
Thank you, viewers. Just to also remind us that the gentleman here is equally a barrister, so you feel free, very, very free to also consent. Barrister St. Moses, I think that's the way it should properly go.
Dissent will always be there first.
Need to dissent. The only living sentence. So you
can't do. That's a qualification.
At the appropriate time, I apply it better. Most often, I like to be called Saint Moses. In fact, you add the only living Son of God. While all of your children.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the much we're going to take today. Just stay tuned, and we are going to come back same time next week, and to ensure that you are informed and entertained. Remember, Living TV will bring the world first to you. This is your command, Chidedum Adiele, signing off.
Admission is ongoing at Living TV Film Academy, Aba, Abia State, for candidates wishing to study filmmaking and mass communication for skill certificate training and degree programs, including mandatory NYSC post-degree service. Courses offered are Department of Journalism and Media Studies, Broadcast Journalism, TV Presentation, Photojournalism, Department of Film and Multimedia Studies, Cinematography, Acting, Video Editing, Film Production, Website Designing, Modeling and Makeup, Bead Making, Screenwriting, Theatre Arts, Department of Broadcasting, Script Writing, Journalism, Reporting, Software Programming, Mobile and Web App Development, Audio Production, Graphic Designing, Digital Animation, Special Effects, Social Media Management. Entry qualifications: candidates must possess 5 credits in WASICAM GCE, NAPTEB or equivalent. We have the following technical infrastructure for students' skills acquisition: an art theatre well equipped for modern digital television and radio studios open for hire to the public, an audio suite for music production, soundtracks, sound effects, jingles and voice-over, etc. A 50 feet by 40 feet chroma studio, largest in Africa for special effects, world-class rendering facilities for post-production rendering, animation and cartoon technology, assorted professional cameras, drones, etc. A film village with epic and village houses for theatre arts and epic films making. Our studies are skill-oriented with well-qualified academic and technical teachers. We also admit students on industrial training and internship from other institutions. Professional license will be issued to graduates to practice as professionals by Bollywood, a registered professional organization for filmmakers. Wow! What are you waiting for? Rush now and obtain our admission form with 2,000 Naira only at our main campus, number 1 Judges Road, 5th floor, former UBA House by NEPA, Waterside Descent, Aba, Abia State, Nigeria, or visit our website, livingradio.com.ng, the Academy, www.livingtvfilmacademy.com, email livingtvfilmacademy@gmail.com, or call 0805 367 3900 or 0816 641 1400. Signed, Registrar.